What's up, y'all? Welcome to Women's Wrestling Talk, the number one women's wrestling show on the planet. My name is TK Trinidad. Welcome to the post show for WWE Fastlane. Man, we got a lot to get into, and all my predictions I think were like completely wrong. So yeah, shout out to part of the Usos, Jade Cargill, all the things. But keep it locked.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the number one women's wrestling show on the planet.
Hey guys, my name is Jade Cargill, and you are watching Women's Wrestling Talk.
What's up, y'all? This lighting is terrible. I didn't even look at it before we started. What's up, guys? TK Trinidad here. I am not alone. This was a shorter pay-per-view, and I am a fan of these. But Booney is in. What's good?
Yes, indeed. What's going on? I enjoyed the show. It wasn't too long, so it's packed with stuff to talk about. So I'm excited to be here.
This is very true. And we have a guest. I've been a guest on his show, and I asked him to pop onto mine. We have Kyle from Detroit, because I'm sure my lighting is messed up again. I'm sure said would like that. Because I wouldn't say we. I was definitely shitting on Detroit.
See, man, that's cold-blooded, man.
I mean, look, I wasn't shitting on Detroit. I was just
when you said I was shitting on Detroit, but I wasn't really shitting on Detroit.
I wasn't really shitting on Detroit. It was just one of those things where it's just kind of like prior to going to Detroit, which I think a lot of people feel. I mean, I apologize, but like nobody's trying to travel to Detroit. I'm sorry. Like I went to Detroit for a reason. I didn't just.
Oh, you're not wrong.
See,
you're not wrong. I mean, it doesn't.
Out for said.
Okay, but like put it out this way though. I mean, you came during August if you were here for SummerSlam. So I mean, you really couldn't have come during a better time. I mean, you still got hot weather. I mean, I know you're out there in Cali, so I mean, it's not too bad.
I've been out there in February before, one of the times of February, and it is cold in the day.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. And I mean, as you can tell, I've got a hoodie on because fall definitely decided to rear its head today.
See, yeah. And summer decided to rear its head in LA for the last 2 days.
Yeah, and so did them bills that come with that shit, though, because it is expensive out there.
Well, I mean, you just hustle more. I'm not going to deny that, but you just, I mean, if you about that life, you about that life. You just hustle more.
I'm with it. I used to look, man. My aunt and uncle used to live out there. My uncle used to play for the Padres and stuff, so I used to go out there and hit all the time. So I got a lot of love for LA out there. So it's all good. I was just out there this year for Mania with Mega Ran.
Oh yeah, Mania was here. That's absolutely right. But before we dive right into the card. How did you guys feel overall about Fastlane?
I feel good about it. I mean, for the most part, I was wrong on half of it, but I'm glad I was right about what I said, which we'll touch on later, because I knew it was going to happen. I'm not happy about the result, but I'm happy to know that it's like, okay, yeah, what I've noticed as a pattern is true, But overall, I thought it was a good show. It was good match, good solid matches, and it just wasn't too overdrawn out. It just wasn't, too long. So I think that was a good thing.
What about you, Kyle?
So overall, I like the show, but I feel like the theme of this show needs to be somebody's going to have some explaining to do come Monday. I mean, between JD McDonough and Jimmy Uso taking that L against Cena and them, somebody's going to have some splaining to do come Friday. Yep. I don't know, but overall, I thought it was good. I love the white robe from Shin. It reminded me of Intercontinental Champion Shin from the IWGP days as the first thought I had when he came out. So, yeah, definitely overall a good pay-per-view, and I agree with what you said. Again, no hate on AEW at all, man, but like a 2.5 hour pay-per-view, 3 hours tops, that's money.
I mean, yeah, for y'all who first off, shout to people in chat. What up, Bobby, Sadell, Wrestlestorian, Bosa, all you guys in the building. Yeah, for you guys who've known me for a long time, I am a fan of get in, get out, literally for everything. So this was the perfect amount, because when you hit those 4 or 5 hour times, I'm like, bro, we got. And this is see what I was talking, Kyle, about the hustling. In LA, you gotta hustle. I can't give you 6 hours. I'm not balling like that. I need to.
She's got to keep up on the beauty sleep. I see you.
Yeah, the sleep. What sleep? But
well, they say New York.
Don't
they say New York is the city that never sleeps, and LA is the city that sleeps in?
Oh yeah, no, I don't have that. Yeah, I don't.
That's
have
what they
that,
call it.
Yeah, I don't have that luxury right now. We if you were here for Friday's show, we just in the midst of stamping on people's necks. So that's what we're doing right now. So let's get into that first match. Oh, that wasn't the first match.
First match was Jay and Cody.
Yeah,
it was Jay and Cody.
New tag team champions. What do you guys think of that? Jay and Cody.
First of all, can we just talk about like the little references that you would have never heard in WWE before? Like the fact that Michael Cole is like fully trying to give people the history of the Bullet Club, and now how they all of a sudden finally acknowledge the fact that Finn was the one that created the Bullet Club. I just found that really funny because, I mean, we've heard all that with AJ, but I've never really heard them go into it heavy like that with Finn, except for when the Good Brothers have been around.
Why? I have the press conference going as well, and I have Fightful saying that Io said that she would also wrestle Taylor Swift. I don't. I'm sorry. I was just like, wait. I had to, because I get all these updates, but I'm just like, wait, what?
Taylor taking a moonsault real quick.
I guess so. Yeah. Io Sky was asked if she would wrestle Taylor Swift. I bet. All right. Well, speaking of Usos, Jay just showed up on the press conference. So what do you guys think of this match?
I thought, go ahead.
You're all straight. You're all straight.
Oh, I mean, I was rooting for Judgment Day, which is what I was hoping who would win at first when we were talking about it yesterday. But Cedric was definitely right with his prediction. And when he explained why why he was predicting that, it makes sense. Just to kind of have something for Cody and Jay, because there really wasn't much going on with storylines and stuff for them. So I agree. This is not going to be a long title run between the two. And
you don't think so?
I don't know. I don't really think. I hope it's not. To be honest, like I'm not really interested in the long run with those two as a tag team. But honestly, I like to see it go back to the Judgment Day, and if it did, I would rather it be Finn and JD McDonough as a tag team. That's who I was just like before they had the tag team belts. I was like, yo, man, JD McDonough and Finn as the tag team champions, that would be really dope. So I'd rather see them as tag team champions under Judgment Day rather than with Damian Priest, because Damian already got, he's senior Money in the Bank. So that's what I would honestly like to see. I have no idea where they're going to go, but based on the title change, I mean, I'm not really bothered by it. I'm kind of like, okay, all right. I'm more interested in seeing where they go with it from here. So that's where I'm kind of at. It's just like, all right, so where's the story gonna go? And me, truthfully, I don't really want to see that title reign be too long.
I don't know, man. So here's the thing. There's a lot of other questions for me, because you also have to take into account that we just saw on SmackDown that they just did the whole, the Bloodline and the Judgment Day are going to be linked up. And then not only did the Judgment Day lose. The Bloodline lost as well. And so as far as Jay coming back, I like the blue. Reminded me a little bit of my Detroit Lions right now, showing people what time it is out here after 50 however many years of losing seasons. But that said, I like the match, but it was more surprising to me that Judgment Day lost the belts like that, because I feel like they just got him number one. Number two, you just had the whole thing, like I said, on SmackDown with them saying they're going to link up with the Judgment Day. And I was wondering the whole time, were we gonna see what's his name? Freaking Jimmy show up. I'm looking like, oh my god, I can't spit his name out. The guy, they were a tag team for how many years? I was wondering the whole match if we'd see Jimmy show up. So we'll see what happens, man. I like it. I think it opens up doors, though.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
TK
Bros.
TK Bros.
Nope, she's good now.
I was like, kid.
Now we got you.
I don't know if there's latency. Say hi real quick.
Hi, real quick.
Yeah, there's latency. There's
no. I don't want to start it over, my stream over again, but I might. Wait, is it my other computer working?
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. What Dylan just said in the comments, that really stuck out to me. It's stupid, but I wonder how long Paul Heyman's been dyeing that hair black, bro. Because that shit was like Santa Claus white today. It stuck out like a sore thumb.
Well, maybe they purposely wanted to show just the stress.
Well, shit. Again, what did I say at the beginning of this, man? People are gonna have some explaining to do. So shit, by the time we get to SmackDown on Friday, he might not have any hair left.
Yeah, majorly. Because even just we'll get to it with
I got a question for you though with this though. So like my only question is this. I like the idea of what they've done as far as like splitting up the Usos. I think obviously eventually I imagine they get back together, but
yeah.
Do you think the fact that they split him apart and then had him win the tag titles again like hurts him? Because it kind of puts him right back into a tag team thing, even though I don't think they're going to have a long title reign, but still for him to just go right back to the tag title.
As long as it's not a long title reign. That's really kind of where it kind of stems from why I'm hoping it's not long. It's really not so much on Cody's end, it's more on Jay's end. It's just like, yo, like he has a solo story going on. So it provides a lot of opportunities for storylines, but again, I just don't want to see it long because I think it could hinder, just his rise and everything because he's
back.
So I didn't necessarily want to see that, and that's why I was rooting for the Judgment Day to win. And the only reason I'm not surprised, I would have been surprised if we didn't have this discussion of WWT Live yesterday, and Cedric his prediction was that Cody and Jay were going to win. I was like, really? But what's he explaining? I'm like, okay, I can see that happening. I hope it doesn't necessarily, but
I think it propels the storyline.
The
Uso storyline, the Bloodline storyline. It doesn't propel like this. The Bloodline storyline is essentially almost bigger than anybody else in wrestling right now. Like It's kind of like F your feelings, and what you want your career to look like right now. It's all Bloodline. So that's what it seems like it's happening right now. I think I kind of was sitting on the fence. I mean, for the folks who watch me, I've always been a Samoan Dynasty person through and through. So I'm happy, so I'm Gucci with it, and it looks good on them. And I feel too, because Cody and Jay, they've had so much history with the company, and obviously we already know that Cody left and came back. I feel like there's ties there that we don't even know about.
Well, and like Boza said in the comments too, I mean, like with it being with Jay, it also puts it right on the table for him to be back involved somehow with Roman.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it it looks like it's going to be a better look for storylines and where they can go with it. So it wasn't really an upset for me. I'm cool with it as long as they continue on with great storytelling. I'm cool.
I am too. I lost my graphics on my other computer, so we just kind of have to go fly solo without the graphics. What do we what do we got next?
What
Next match was they played that promo again for NXT, and I missed the gong the first time, so they definitely made sure to make sure you knew that the gong was going. But they were just continuing to hype up the quote unquote Tuesday Night War.
I mean, so we're gonna make reference to it real quick. So we know that Collision started an hour early today, and I don't want to say it's because of the fast lane, but it kind of felt like
Yeah, it's totally because of
It totally
Fastlane.
is. Yeah.
So it's, man, like I said yesterday, it feels like Tony Khan is trying to hang in there, and like, super respect to AEW because they definitely show us love. But I feel like you need to like lay low and just do your own lane for now.
Yeah,
And
just keep doing you.
yeah, keep doing, because it doesn't look good. And then it's like, if you saw, I also have Triple H's feed on my Twitter, and if you see the stuff Triple H was saying at the beginning of the show, it was just like, yo, it was a situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree. I think he should they just continue to do it because it looks insecure. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Doesn't look like you're just secure in what you're doing and not really and just letting things organically, keep taking shape. So, I agree with that. Um let's see. What was the next match was it with the LWO
Yeah,
versus
LWO,
Bobby
Bobby
Lashley
Lashley
and
and
Street
Street
Profits?
Profits.
Okay, yeah.
I
So
mean,
yeah,
that seemed like that one seemed. I always remember X Pac when he says certain things as far as a flow of pay per views and matches and stuff like that. You have
mhm,
to kind of let the audience cool down a little bit after coming from that high. You need
right,
something that's like, okay, we can go to the bathroom, or like, you can't keep the excitement up that whole time. And I feel like this
right,
is what this match was. It was kind of
yeah,
like, I'm happy that LWO won, but it was like, okay, we're good. Like,
yeah,
what's the next thing?
Okay, but the only thing with that too is I thought it was kind of interesting. They went the route of, oh, I called him, but he didn't answer. And then, like, when they played it out into the match as far as they did, I'm like, damn, all right. Because I kind of was like, I thought it was, if you check me out at Detroit Knockout, I definitely was tweeting, like, I definitely saw, I thought that was going to be Carlito. And my only thing is, I just kind of wish we'd have got a little more of him in the ring. I mean, because I've been wondering what they were going to do with him for a while, because I mean, I've been hearing over and over again that they signed him after he showed back up at the Royal Rumble.
right,
And obviously, we've been waiting to see if anything had come out with that. First of all, the guy looks like $1,000,000. Second of all, I think it's a perfect fit as far as LWO goes. But I hope that we see like a little more of him as like whatever happens with the LWO kind of develops, because like I don't want to see him just kind of come in and just be like, oh shit, Carlito's back, but he's
Right.
not, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I love the first off, shout out to Clark Carlito and whoever his personal trainer is, and or if he was his own personal trainer, he looks fantastic. So there's that. But yeah, it was a nice surprise. I feel like his last run he got lost in the sauce as well. So I feel like I hope this run is not going to be that,
yeah,
I
yeah.
I agree with that 100%.
because it was
Uh,
just like he was there and then he wasn't there, and
yeah. On as far as like Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, this was another prediction that Cedric got right, and I was initially going for Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, but now that they lost, this is the chance where
for them to.
Bobby needs to get vicious.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we've seen how Gunther is with the Wrestling Imperium when they lose and stuff like that. Like he goes in on them. I mean, it was a little weird at first when he had to like make them stand there in the middle of the ring, give them chops to the chest and stuff. It was like, man, it's like getting a spanking or something. That was weird. So when they lighten that down and he's just going off, that's what we're really going to be expecting from Bobby. I don't know how he's going to really have the Street Profits prove themselves, but I think it's at this point in the storyline, like he's got to make some things kind of, like difficult for them. Like they got to go across New York to get some cheesecake or something. Like we're gonna have to see Bobby Lashley like really, enter a level of just being that villain, and I'm hoping to hear that more in his promos and the way that he talks to. But Bobby has such a kind of like a softer tone to the way he speaks and everything. So I just want to, I just hope he could just, I don't know, get some grit and just cuss at them a little bit or something. Just like we have to see this faction, whatever it is, like get to a point where it's like they're really generating heat.
Right.
And whether that's like going and just beating people up randomly in the locker room and just start dominating, it's like otherwise, man, the potential of this is really gonna suffer. So they really have to dig in this time, and Bobby's gonna have to, from here on out with all of this. So let's hope we see that.
I think it'll definitely produce. I think I did say this yesterday. Like I said, we definitely need a producer. I think that this will push them into that heel era,
Yeah.
which will generate, because they can't go back to what they were before.
Right.
So this loss might, it's kind of like you never know who somebody really is until you break up with them. So, or something bad happens. So I
Yeah.
feel like this is gonna be one of those things where it's just like, all right, dog, like we don't have the championships, like things are not working our way. We just took another loss. You're gonna have to be petty Drake for a little bit.
See,
Yeah.
I have another look at that though, because obviously I agree with what you're saying as far as Bobby's definitely gonna lose his shit with them losing. But I also think that it could mean that we might see somebody else join them, because let's not forget what happened on NXT on Tuesday. I think Carmelo Hayes is gonna join them, especially
Mhm.
considering they've already
Mhm.
shown him with them before. I could see Bobby bringing him up and it being something like, oh, well, since you guys can't get the job, I told you I'd go get somebody who could get it done, and then have him show up on Raw and beat somebody. And then
Mhm.
him talking shit about Carmelo to kind of try to get the Street Profits to come out. Because even in the match that you saw tonight, I mean, you could see that the Street Profits were trying to do more heel type stuff. So I feel like if they brought Carmelo up there and then he really hyped him up, have him win a few matches and have Bobby kind of dog him out like you were saying, just to piss him off to get better
Yeah.
production.
Yeah, me and my best friend talk about this a lot. And my best friend was always bringing it up more. I'm noticing now with this heel turn, like I'd like to see Montez calm down just a little bit. Just
I could see that.
it's like from his theatrics and the how humorous he can be and everything and animated he can be. It's like with this heel turn, I would like to see that toned down just a little bit more and more on the vicious end. Um and even in the in-ring work where there's less of more the high flying style and everything like that, and seem just maybe a little bit more like a brawling type of, I don't know.
I'd
I don't
like
know
to
what
see that. I could see
yeah.
that. But another thing that sticks out to me, maybe it's just me, like, can we get Doc to have a little bit different like ring gear? Because like the singlet don't do it for me as a heel. Like, even though I'm not trying to hold nobody, but I'm just saying, seeing him come down with the same singlet type deal, I just
Hmm.
feel like if they had like similar type, like whether they're tights or pants or whatever the hell he wants to wear,
Yeah.
Like, I just think that would have gave it like a little different to look. Because if you think about it, when they were coming down, like you notice Bobby had the straight pants on, you had Montez
Yeah.
had the stuff on, and
Yeah.
they've all had the change in their gear. I just feel like, I don't know, little things like that. But as far as them as a team, man, it's just I think, like you said, it's just going to come down to what are they going to use to piss them off, and I think
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I like to, I've always said that about Dawkins too, because like in the, for a while, I always thought just with the shorts and all that, it kind of, looked like football practice or something, to me, like, type of thing. And so I would like to see, just, something different. I don't know what it is, but at the end of the day, I'm sure, just with wrestlers just as much as artists and stuff like that, you want to wear what you're feeling confident in, that you're, so my guess is that is, the type of attire that he feels most comfortable and confident in. But I mean, I would like to see maybe something different, maybe him try something else that, because the outfit, though it wasn't, he didn't have shorts over, it was designed like it having shorts over it. So that's why I was just like, okay, this all right, yeah. So I feel you on that.
Yeah, I'm literally like thinking what you could put on him, because I remember when the Usos kind of made the change from like the tribal
shorts.
Mhm.
short stuff to like the Uso Penitentiary, and it was literally just a change of like they just started wearing everyday clothes.
Yeah.
So maybe something like that would be
Yeah,
possible.
they had more like it went from like the shorts and everything to like kind of like joggers, type of vibe. So I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing, you know, Dawkins and something like that. But I guess we shall see. I'm pretty sure that they're gonna end up trying something out like different out as they get a little further along. So I'm interested in seeing that.
Sindel, Sindel saying she mentioned it earlier about the shirt release of Io Shirai or Io
Mm.
Sky, excuse me. Yeah, I
That's
mean,
what
I
it
feel
should
like,
have been.
yeah, it's that part. I mean, I don't think so. It kind of does suck. It's actually worse this way versus I know they've done that with like the Super Bowl and
Yeah.
baseball where they release certain shirts in anticipation of, and then it kind of goes the other direction. But when you actually know,
Yeah.
you actually know the ending, and and somebody botches that, um, but I don't think it matters though. I feel in this
Nah.
society, people just would have got out, like just would have bought shirts earlier. But
Yeah.
um, thank you for confirming and also checking on
Now,
Twitter.
if this were UFC, I'd be mad as fuck.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know though, because say if it was UFC,
Right, you don't know because it's a real fight, but I'm just saying, like, if you did that, I'd already be like, what the fuck? So this shit's got to be rigged.
yeah, and then they actually do. Yeah, there is that.
Mm.
So we're gonna get to what I love. This match was crazy. So the WWE Women's Championship, Io Sky, Asuka, and Charlotte Flair. First off, Charlotte's outfit.
Not
Sure.
wrong.
The
Not
queen.
wrong at all.
The queen.
Charlotte's
That's me.
outfit. I mean, everybody. I feel like everybody stepped it up. I mean, we didn't even. First off, we didn't even talk about Jade, showing up at the beginning, which I thought wasn't going to happen, and when she
Me
did,
neither.
it was crazy, and that's all she had to do to show
Thank
up.
God she
For
wasn't
sure.
Jada Parker. That's all I saw on Twitter. Who the fuck is Jada Parker? And the best part is she's in the breakout tournament now.
Oh goodness. So yeah, it was nice because people they actually, it felt like when you look at everything, they did the front with the great surprises and the ending was okay, but like the Usos were in the beginning and the end. There's that, and then Jade was like at the top part. So shout to her. We'll see. I think it hasn't been confirmed, but the rumors are that she's gonna be going to Raw As far as how soon, who knows? She might start cutting promos on Raw, which I'm not too excited about.
I
feel
thought she should go to NXT. Damn it.
well, it's not even about that. I feel
Me
like
too.
you can't, like, we already know that she got signed, so I think they should have made us wait. Like,
I
okay,
agree.
is she gonna come to this pay-per-view? Okay, well, we see her, we know she's around.
Oh shit!
No.
Joseph says he's gonna be on Raw and SmackDown this week.
Yeah, she probably is cutting promos. I highly doubt she's gonna be in a match, but I feel like they should have. She must, Jesus, the way Triple H is going, she probably show up in NXT too. Which that's where she should show up this week. If I were Triple H,
when
like,
you came on our show, I talked about it. Like, I feel like the perfect scenario for Jade coming in would be to have her go into NXT, especially with how hot they are right now. Because I mean, honestly, if you think about it, NXT might have the most buzz out of all three brands as far as a brand right now, especially with all
for the
heat.
women's division.
For real. And then the fact that they're bringing in all that for the Tuesday night show. I mean, I said it on Knockouts and 3 Counts. I think if you had Jade come in, have her win the belt, have her have, similar even to what she did in AEW in a way, not quite the Goldberg treatment, but have her win the title and have her be just dominant as shit for a while. And a lot of people are calling they want to see her versus Bianca. But could you imagine if she wins the title, is dominant for a while, blah, blah, blah. We've seen Bianca's been gone for a while. Have her come back. They've already played with her being a heel. The Street Profits are a heel. Put them with Bobby and them, and then have her come up as the badass champion to butt heads with her. I feel like it would be perfect.
That's a what?
So there's a comment. What did you say, Jade? So Joseph saying, I don't think Jade's contract would have been justified for her. Yeah, because we had Tony Khan saying that he doubled and tripled. He gave her what she asked for, and then even when she said no, he gave her even more, and she turned it down. So yeah, I'm definitely thinking the money is there.
Oh, I get that part, but it doesn't got to be there for long. Like I said, you could literally do that in like a year, 6 months, 8 months, something like that. Because besides, we've heard everybody talk about it. The one knock on Jade and AEW was the obvious one, and that because she's not from wrestling, even though she looked great, she just had to get a little bit more reps as far as TV. I think by putting her on NXT, you give her that little time to put that WWE polish on her, which, if anyone wants to argue it or not, WWE knows how to make her a bigger star than AEW could. And with that being said, I think and like I said, I totally get your point. She's getting paid, obviously. So I'm not saying like keep her there for long, but given the heat that NXT's got on it right now, like I said, I feel like more people are talking about NXT right now than they are Raw or SmackDown, really.
Yeah, no, I feel like, yes, just because you're paying her a lot of money doesn't mean that you have to get a return on your investment right now. Like,
I agree.
It's kind of like in business.
And you could play her between all three brands.
You can. In business terms, like you don't start a business and then you start making money out the gate. You have to position certain things. You have to make the right connections. You have to get the audience ready, all this other stuff. So, I'm sure it's not going to be, I'm sure we're going to start seeing her on the brands. I don't think we're going to have a match from her for a little bit, but I was wrong today. So anything is possible.
Yeah, you never know, really.
So, the Wrestle Historian saying, I think Jade could start a feud with Nia when she debuts. That's a good one. That's if she starts out as a babyface. I don't think she should start out as a babyface.
I don't want to see her as a babyface at all.
Because even on Twitter,
she's got to keep that attitude, bro.
Yeah, even on Twitter, somebody tweeted at her green as grass, and then she tweeted back, I guess, where the money resides. She didn't say that exactly, but she said that yes,
so
I
many
might
words.
be green, but I got the green coming in.
I got the green.
So take that. With that being said, back to the women's match. So we had Io, Asuka, and Charlotte. Io is still the champion. We talked about Charlotte's gear. As far as this match, how did you guys feel about it?
I thought it was a great match. I was, as you know, I said yesterday, I'm gonna be mad if Charlotte wins that belt, even though I am a Charlotte fan. I was really just hoping that either Io was going to retain or Asuka would get it. So the fact that Io retained, I was happy about that. I thought it was just a great match overall. They all killed it. Like it was just dopeness the entire time. So that was just great to see, just each one of them getting their shine, and there was just so many close moments. It was dope. It was dope. So I was just happy about that, and then interested in seeing, you know, where things continue to go with Damage Control, because EO told Bailey, like, I got my strategy. I don't want y'all in.
Right.
But she came in and then at first messed up some shit, you know, that looked like, you know, EO could have lost. But then Bailey came around and helped again. If it wasn't for the assistance that she gave, we don't know if it would have been the same result or not, you know. So I'm very curious to where the dynamic is going to be going with Damage Control, you know, moving forward. Like, is EO going to be, you know, upset that even though have any kind
Doesn't
of
sound like
resentment?
it from Boza's comment from the press conference.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I missed the press conference, because that's why I was just wondering, is she going to be resentful, you know, for the win, even though it wasn't exactly the strategy that she had, or, you know, are things going to be a little more cool between her and Bailey now? Or is Bailey now going to start feeling a little more like entitled in some kind of way? I'm curious to see where that's going in that story. But either way, it was a fantastic match. I was very happy that EO retained.
The thing too with EO though, you know how I'm trying to give like regular references for just like regular folks who like watch this and not all into the weeds. Like, you know how you're happy for the moment, like you're happy for the win, right? It's like you're happy that you got the girl. Like
Right.
you've been setting it up, you got the girl, and then you realize that like you really didn't want, like, how it happens that not how you wanted. It might
Right.
set in that when we do see them, she's gonna be like, yeah, you helped me, it's great, I still have the win. Of course the win is the most important thing, but I also told you not to come out, and that's
Right.
you know, so that it's still
And
they can
then
still play it.
yeah, and then
So-
Bailey has, you know, if there was that feeling, Bailey could, you know, feel a certain type of way too. So I'm really interested in seeing that. But go ahead.
So here's my thing, right? There were a few things that jumped out to me like during this match. Number one, I love the fact that they're using the mist. Shout out to the great Muda. That being said, it's the little things, right? Because you know, you already had the dissension like you talked about between Bailey and Io, and remember Charlotte was already poking the bear by saying, look at you were one of the 4 horsewomen and now you've become like Io's belt holder pretty much.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's coming. And another thing that I couldn't help but thinking again with them in the ring is that I want to see more of Io and Asuka, man. I mean, I know they got the history in Japan. Hell, I wouldn't, you talk about tag teams, hell, I wouldn't mind them two as a tag team. Could you imagine them both with the mist like that? And then, like, I mean, this is totally fantasy booking, but then you got the great Muda in the Hall of Fame now, you know, just have them come down with them one time at like a pay-per-view or something. That'd be pretty dope. But as far as the match goes, I feel like it's clearly leading to, I don't think Damage Control can last much longer. And I think they're already laying the seeds with that, with Charlotte saying that and then things playing out that way. I think it's only playing out that way. But I think somewhere after this is over, we see more, whether that's together or against each other, of Io and Asuka.
Man, I love a good faction. And and at first I wasn't believing it. Now I'm into it. And I just don't like I like long-term factions. Like, you know, for instance, like, I mean, obviously New Day's a given, but even like the Usos, like nobody ever thought that they were ever going to break up because they're brothers. Like, but what's happening now is like I like that, but that's also, we also know that they're going to come back together. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I like a long-term faction. Like it's some of these factions, like it seems great, and then they break up, and it's like they never make a reference to it again, which is, you know, not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So were you're saying that you weren't feeling damage control at first, but now, you know,
I don't
later?
think anybody was feeling damage control at
No, because
first,
it seemed
man.
like it didn't make sense.
No, it didn't. And I mean, realistically, though, you talk about how long they've been around. I mean, they have been around about a year and a half now. I
Yeah.
mean, as opposed to the new factions we see pop up every week in AEW.
I feel, honestly, I was the opposite. I was feeling them from the first, like from the beginning. I was just happy to see a faction. You know, when they debuted at SummerSlam and everything. I just, for in the beginning, how they were booked for a while was where it just put a damper on it for me, where it's just like they were constantly losing, you know, for a while. You know, individual matches, group matches, all that. And so,
Ooh, that would be
you know,
dope.
I agree where it's just like I prefer long term, you know, factions as well. I'm just, like I said, I'm just more interested to seeing where, you know, the where the storyline goes. What I liked about the bloodline, what I've liked about even Judgment Day. Judgment Day is a great example. What I've liked is, you know, before, for so long, like storylines with factions a lot of times would be all perfect, and once the honeymoon phase was over, once one little, you know, tiff or argument would happen, then everything would just implode, and it would just, that's all it would take for it to be completely shattered. But we've seen, you know, stuff go on in Judgment Day where it's just like, ooh, there's some tension here and stuff, but you see people, they work things out and whatever. It's just, it feels more realistic, like how they've been doing with that. And so, you know, they could really do the same thing with damage control, which kind of just seems like it's been brewing for a while, but I just don't know where they're going to go with it. But I mean, even with some inner turmoil, maybe that could, you know, be something that, you know, amps them up in some way, brings them closer in some way, because I feel like that's what was going on, what happened with Judgment Day. So, you know, I kind of like those storylines where even though there can be some tension, it can be worked out.
Yeah, I don't think, even in saying that I think that it's laying the seeds for damage control to break up, I don't think that that's something that happens until, like they were saying, like the road to Mania. Like I think ultimately that's how that all happens. I think they're just laying some of the seeds. But like you said, with Kyrie coming back and what we've got with Io and Asuka, you talk about a new faction. I mean, I don't think they would ever do it, but could you imagine like the three of them together, like just saying fuck damage control, and then they do their own deal? Like I think that would be pretty sweet. Like I said, I've always been a fan of Io Sky, Io Shirai, whatever you want to call it. I loved it, the version in NXT and what we're seeing here. So I think Bailey's eventually got to find a way to insert herself back to being like the main event player. So I feel like whether that happens sooner, whether that happens towards WrestleMania, I don't think it's any coincidence that Charlotte keeps throwing around.
You're
Well,
saying that,
yes,
yeah. I
there's
miss
no
Bailey.
way.
I
Like
miss
I
Bailey.
feel like I said, they're the seed. So I don't really necessarily see it as a, you know, like a ending a faction short. I don't think it's going to happen for any time soon, because perfect example. Look what we just saw with the Judgment Day. They were already playing like they were going to break up, and then they won the tag titles.
Exactly. That's what I was just like, yeah, I like how they're, you know, they did that, and I like to see that more with factions. It feels more realistic. Of course, like when you're in a group, just like bands and stuff, you're gonna get frustrated with each other. You know, they be on the road all the time and stuff like that. So you got to, you know, little frustrations, little things going on, but you still hold it down because it's Wu-Tang forever.
Wow. There was a question posed on Twitter. Do you think Bailey is going to stay, Or do you think when when or if her contract's up?
She's not going to AEW.
Yeah, I think Bailey's gonna stay. I just, yeah, I think Bailey will more than
I
likely.
don't think WWE had let her go, dude. I think Edge was a total different situation because Edge has already done everything there is to do in WWE. Like I think Bailey would be like one of those pillars. I feel like that WWE wouldn't let go because think about it in this sense, just right off the rip, and this is why I don't think it'll happen. Could you imagine with how much we talk about the way AEW's women's division, seems to be up and down, or maybe they don't have, they'll have like a good match here, but there's not enough storyline and all that. If you immediately insert another major player like a Bailey like that, I don't think WWE lets that happen. Because again, even if WWE looks at them necessarily as competition or not, Triple H and Vince are not going to just give you a damn, like, that's like giving you like the golden carrot for you to like, even if that's not going to change everything, but I don't think they would just let a pillar like that just go.
Yeah, you think that essentially how they had Paige, sitting on the sidelines for 5 years, they'll do that to because I mean, is letting go and wanting to be let go is two different things. And yes, I agree. You don't want to give the other side, somebody who could make an impact, but it's also kind of like how, say hypothetically, now we're creating this whole alternate universe. Say she wants to go and WWE's not letting her go and they put the Paige treatment on her. How long do you keep the Paige treatment on her? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can only do it for so long till it's like, okay, bro, legally you can't, my contract's done. I haven't signed anything. Like,
See,
so there is that.
I don't know. I don't know that I see like Sindel said in the comments. I don't really think, I really don't know that Bailey's like so mad about it. I feel like if you think about it, Bailey basically got to run her own group for a while, however long this lasts.
Right.
And I think we're just going through the normal ebbs and flows of wrestling where, somebody's eventually got to get pissed and, ask Brian Cage, everybody's got to get their shit in at some point. So I feel like eventually Bailey's going to get tired of being, okay, cool, I'm hype, I'm building up the next generation like they said. But at the same time, and eventually at some point, she's going to want the title back, which at that point, EO is going to be better off because she's been champion and can do more on her own than maybe she would have done beforehand. But I don't necessarily think that it means that Bailey's mad about it. Because, I mean, realistically, look at Bailey. Bailey's done damn near everything there is to do in WWE at this point either.
True.
So, I mean, I think it's just a change of pace for a little while.
Yeah, I just just wanted to see what the next evolution of Bailey is. It's like Bailey's one of those people that I can't really imagine, being dissatisfied to a point that she would leave. It's hard for me to imagine it. So I just think,
don't know any of that. Like,
yeah.
Then again, her best friend did though.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's why it's just like, it's hard for me to imagine it. I'm not saying that that's a fact. It's just hard for me to imagine. So I just feel like there's more for Bailey to do in WWE. We haven't seen the best of Bailey's run yet. I think there's still more in the bag. I'm curious to see where that's gonna go. Whether that's still remaining heel or going back to babyface territory.
I don't know if you guys have peeped it with her either. Like, another thing I've liked with the run with Bailey as a heel is have you guys noticed how much of her old character that she has incorporated to it? I mean, her finishing move is what she used to use before she was Bailey, when she used to be Davina Rose. And so, there's, I feel like there's it's like a different look to her. Like, obviously right now with EO being the champion, the roles are kind of reversed. But if you think about when Damage Control came out, I feel like we've seen a lot of different elements. I mean, obviously she got rid of the streamers, got a different theme song, dresses differently, uses her old finisher, uses a lot more dastardly stuff. So I mean, it's just an evolution in another chapter of it. But I mean, I think eventually it was going to have to be needed for Bailey because what's she going to do? Hug everybody forever?
This
She
is
was
true.
like the adult version of
Exactly.
Izzy.
Yeah. I was glad when she turned heel. I loved it. I loved it, and it's been a while now, so it's just like I'm interested in seeing wherever it goes that she's pleased with, and the direction she goes. I think it can be dope. So
Now, if
whatever.
we're still talking about her being on the back burner like 6 months from now, like after we get out of like Royal Rumble and Mania, then I think there's a lot more conversation to be had for that.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, Sindel saying Bailey has already said she's happy doing what she's doing. She likes helping building superstars. I mean, yes, but I mean, we also had an interview with Jade saying she was happy at AEW. So, and less than a week later, she was with WWE. Rest of the story.
Kayfabe, brother.
And you know what? She had me so convinced. I was just like, oh yeah, she's gonna stay with AEW. And then I think a week later, Tony said, yeah. So I'm like, oh yeah, she's gonna come back, and there it is. I didn't see Bailey going back to baby. I don't see Bailey going back to babyface. I think we're only scratching the surface of her heel character. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think there's more things for her to do, especially being more of the senior member of the locker room. So
Yeah,
we'll see what
I think
happens.
we see another run with Bailey versus Charlotte. That's what I want to see.
I mean, I think, yeah, why not? It's like, obviously we know Charlotte's future Hall of Famer, all this other stuff.
We
But
already
yeah,
know
I
that,
think
but
they have to circle back because now you let time pass. Like, Charlotte and Becky, we have another one of those ones in a couple of years. Like, I mean, definitely, who wouldn't want to see that? Because now you're
not
also
to mention again, it's a different Bailey. Like, remember the last time they were going at it, Charlotte was just talking about how she was, the superior and she's the queen and she's this, that, and the other. But now, I mean, you heard Charlotte say it out of her own mouth. You went
right.
from being champion of this and this and this and this and this and that. So that's basically acknowledging the fact that she knows that Bailey's much more than like the hugger deal at this point. So
Right.
I feel like if you did that, that opens a whole new door to a totally different story because Charlotte can't look at her as like the sidekick per se, like she did before.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Definitely.
So congratulations to EO. Then that leaves us with Cena, LA Knight, and the Bloodline, Jimmy and Solo. What do you guys think of this match?
It was a good match. It's what I expected. That's what I called, like, who was gonna win. I felt like it was. Felt like one of those matches really kind of designed to give LA Knight a further push. Give them a pay-per-view PLE match, and also with John Cena being there and everything. So it it was a good match. It was a fun match to watch, but nothing really surprising to me on my end.
I mean, nothing necessarily surprising, but as far as yeah, the crowd there they had there. I mean,
Yeah.
dude, LA Knight is money, period.
Yep.
Like there's no way to put it. I've been saying it since this dude was Eli Drake and calling people dummies. And now we've got doubles of TK in here. Holy shit, I'm seeing double.
Oh, is it okay? Which one's the real TK? No.
Oh, damn. And then that being said, it's I don't know, man. I think he's gonna one of the biggest stars they're gonna have there. I just hope they don't fumble this shit because I'm not gonna lie. I'm glad they put him in the spot. I think he was the best person for them to have in there with Cena, really, with how hot he's been. But at the same time, the way they kind of heated him up when they were here in Detroit. Whoa, I don't know what the hell just happened. I was like, is that mine? Oh, no.
That was the echo chamber.
Yeah, but I don't know, man, especially after what we saw here in Detroit. I mean, the crowd went nuts for him here, but I feel like they've been slowly building him up, but haven't like pulled the trigger really on putting him in the main event thing. But having him in the ring there with Cena like that, dude, I think that guy, like I said, there's nothing else to say. That guy's money. I think now the question is, what happens when Roman comes back? because at this point we've already been seeing Jimmy kind of puff his chest out a little bit and trying to like handle all this business. And he's
Kinda.
talking,
Holding out his hand.
like that's like the dude in high school who joins the gangs. Like, oh yeah, man, fucking running through we had a dude to be running down the hall telling everybody and their mom about it. That's what Jimmy reminds me of right now with the bloodline. Now that he's quote unquote back in, but I feel like once we see Roman come back, I feel like we're gonna see a real change of pace. I don't know if they'd kick him out, but I just don't know where they go from that.
I mean, I feel like they can't kick him out right now, but if they, because now you're looking at, if you kick him out, then would he go and join his brother? And now it's like 2 against 2.
Nah, he wouldn't go.
You could do that and then have Solo be like, well, now you've kicked both my brothers out. And now I see that you're, whatever. But
I don't see Jimmy getting kicked out. If he were to get kicked out, then maybe he would go to like Judgment Day or something. I don't know. I think Jimmy's I think he's kind of in a place where without his brother, he's just like, I think he's confused himself of exactly what he wants, in the storyline. You know what I'm saying? Just like I don't know. It's just a trip right now. He's saying a lot right now. It's like, well, the tribal chief Roman ain't here. He ain't never here. Blah blah blah. And it's like he ain't here. He can't be calling the shots. Blah blah. And it's just like when leading up to that, we were thinking like, oh, is Roman in the room? But then that's when we ended up seeing Judgment Day in there. And so since Judgment Day has been kind of, he has something going on with the bloodline. If that's the only thing I can see. If Jimmy were to have any kind of issue where he got kicked out of the bloodline, he would go over to Judgment Day somehow or something. That would be my guess. But
the funny thing is, the two guys that could switch are the two that got the most explaining to do between JD McDonough smoking him in the knee, and then Jimmy's the one who got pinned. So they both fucked up.
They both fucked up.
both fucked up.
So there's a couple of things. Do you think that, because yesterday, based off of SmackDown, people were saying, do you think it's going to be Rhea and Roman? Which not technically, it's never been done. So say Rhea retains her belt, obviously, because Roman can, but we don't see that happening. And then she gets Roman's belt. Like that's it's like it's to all those people, including myself. It's like there's not enough women's wrestlers, and now Rhea goes and does this. It'll be like, y'all, we've done. This is like a bad analogy. It's kind of like we gave you a black president, so like we've made her the champion of champions. Like there's no more for you to ask. Like that's where I feel like would be the equivalent of that.
Yeah. I'm not too sure where they're gonna go with this. Paul. Yeah, I was saying Paul Heyman is stressed. He has gray hair. Styles since Roman's been gone. Yeah, it's like
real, or do you think that was like they added?
I gotta hope that's got to be added more gray, because he definitely got a lot more gray, like really fucking quick. Because it was enough to where I literally sat tonight and I'm like, holy shit!
When did he's been dyeing it? And he just stopped.
That's what I said. I was like, man, did he finally just say, fuck it, and I'm not dyeing my hair no more? Because, I mean, that's been like the age-old joke. Like, Kevin Nash has made that joke to me I don't know how many times over the years. Well, I just stopped dyeing my hair. So, like I said, I could definitely see that one.
Yeah, we were talking about that when you were switching the computers. Yeah, for sure, whether he stopped dyeing it or added some, whatever, I definitely think it's going in along the storyline because he is stressed.
Well, speaking of storylines, though, bro, like, I mean, this is a little bit off in the weeds, but, remember who's the one that took Rhea out? It was Nia Jax. So I'm just saying, Nia Jax also has something and has her ties with the bloodline. I'm just saying, at some point, Rhea and Nia are going to have to fight again, because she just threw Rhea around and nobody else has done that. So I'm just saying, it's a little left field and out in the weeds, but I'm just saying, it would kind of tie in there.
Well, I can see them bringing in Nia, especially what's like Rhea saying, acknowledge me and all that. They're like, okay, we need someone to come in and set her straight right now. And then maybe Nia, I'm not sure. That's I can see that happening. We were talking about this months ago when it was just speculation if Nia could come back. And we are
Right.
just like bloodline. You need to go to bloodline.
And I'm not even just saying bloodline, but with the
Yeah.
way that she came back and the way that she laid out Rhea, and now Rhea and Roman are, in cahoots or whatever. And then, if Roman starts thinking that Rhea's kind of getting, too big for her britches real quick, maybe he's got to call in the reinforcements.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I like that. And of course, WWE is never going to give us what we want. However, what I suggested and what Bosa is doubling down on is something that, because you have Tessa Blanchard, who had, I think it was a X Division championship in Impact or something.
Jordan
like that.
Grace was the world champion,
right? But to have both,
yeah, that'd be nuts.
Like, yeah, her having a feud with Nia Jax, that would be great to watch. But her having both, like that's like, I don't think you can really compare anything to that right now.
I just don't think that WWE will ever pull that trigger. I just couldn't see it.
In the era that we are in now, I think it's possible.
I'm not saying it can't happen, but I
don't think she'll be there for long, but I think it's possible. Like some shenanigans happen, and that's what that's what happens.
I mean, it's undeniable how big of a star she is for WWE, whether she's supposed to be a quote unquote heel or she's a baby face. I mean, the fans love everything that is Rhea Ripley right now. So
right.
Jeffrey Reimer was asking, where is Tamina? At
home.
Like, honestly, and this is just my opinion. Like, if Tamina were to come back, if she was involved in the Bloodline storyline in any way, I'd rather see her in some kind of, manager type, role as a heel manager who is because usually her in-ring matches would usually be a lot shorter or something of that sort. So I'd like to see her more like kind of playing that manager role where she's outside of the ring, doing shit,
like the enforcer.
Yeah, really, like not really having to go in just straight up like full in ring, because when she was, it was, when she was in the tag team, then was it tag team with Shayna or was it?
Yeah, she had
yeah. So it's like when in the tag team, but when she was doing like solo matches, it's just the moveset isn't as as many moves, and it just would be a lot shorter matches. So that's where it's like if she came into the fold, yeah, I like her. I would like to see her more in that enforcer manager kind of role. That's just like she's there with the family and she's taking care of some business outside the on the outside.
That's why I think of like the reinforcements deal, like you guys were saying, if she's going to be the leader for Judgment Day, and then you got Roman over here. Well, Roman can't hit a girl, so he has to go get the reinforcements from the family to kind of balance her out right quick.
Exactly.
Yeah, I thought now that you said that, I know WWE is kind of particular on that stuff, so it might not happen. But
yeah,
especially with the new company and who they're trying to.
Yeah, I just like when they had Team Bad back in the day.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking of Nia and Shayna. Tamina WrestleStorian saying Tamina was tag team champs with Natalia. So just a little correction.
That's right. It's okay. I fucked up with Jordan Grace too. Yeah, I mean, I knew Tessa was champion, but I don't know why I was thinking Jordan won.
Thanks for the correction. But yeah, I'd rather see just kind of like how she was in Team Bad with Sasha and Trinity at that time. She was more kind of like the enforcer type, like more so. That's what I'd like to see if she were to come back.
Well, I mean, she hasn't officially retired.
Yeah.
She lives out here in California. So I think I think she's definitely doing the stints here and there. But yeah, why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not? Um, uh, yeah, you need to hop on more Wrestletorian because I Wrestletorian. I'm wrong about everything all the time. So we have the last match.
I
Which,
called it.
Don't forget about Patty Mack, though.
Wait, where
Oh,
are we?
Pat McAfee.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
He did. I mean, he was announced to come on though.
Yeah, I like Pat McAfee though. So he just like a lot of the way that if you watch knockouts and 3 counts, a lot of that stuff is a lot similar to that because I just love the way that he's all over the place. So I can get down with Pat McAfee on commentary, especially when he's busting Cole's balls.
Yeah, I miss Pat McAfee as a commentator, man.
Yeah,
he was definitely a favorite.
Yeah, his thing about being part of the Usos and all this other stuff was cute.
And he definitely had one of the best sells of getting stunned. of a Stone Cold Stunner. Yeah, one of the best sells. That shit was brilliant.
Unlike Vince's, Vince might have topped Madison Square Garden.
Oh my gosh.
And the Madison Square Garden was horrible.
We also didn't mention that another McMahon was in the building. And
oh my God. I literally first thought was like, holy shit, does he look like Shane? Too bad he's about to get smacked by Michigan just like they did today. I'm just saying.
But why do you think because I mean, yes,
because he's the quarter he plays for them right now. That's why. And they were in Indiana.
I get that part, but they didn't have to showcase him. You know what I'm saying?
He's a McMahon.
Damn
it, Declan must pose.
He is, but it wasn't necessary.
Declan must pose.
I don't know. I feel like that's leading into something.
All they had to do is have him do the McMahon shuffle, and he'd have been all right. But
do you think that's a future thing for them?
Oh, I think so. At some point, I think they want him to get through school and stuff, but I definitely think it's in the back pocket. I mean, if we've learned anything about Shane and them, Shane's got enough of his own stuff set up outside of WWE, obviously. So I would imagine that he'd want his kid to finish out his career, and he's probably pushing for him to play in the NFL first. So
there is that. So that will bring us to our last match. What did you guys think of it?
I called it. I called it yesterday. I said I want Shinsuke to win. Most of us all wanted Shinsuke to win. But the reason why I knew he wasn't is because this is the pattern I've noticed, and it's never been broken. If two wrestlers get into a scuffle in their last encounter before pay-per-view, whoever is victorious in that scuffle is going to lose at the pay-per-view. Period.
That's just like the guy who pulls out the table goes through the table.
That right. It's almost just like that. It's pretty much any time if somebody has the belt and their contender beats them up before, I'm gonna be mad. What? That is, oh my God, what is
that's cold-blooded.
Hey, wait, shout out to Dylan because I didn't even watch I didn't even know there was more to that clip. So
oh my goodness, that is crazy. That is funny. So yeah, I get, I go off a lot of times. So I wasn't mad with it. So at the end of this, I really wanted Shinsuke to win. But since Monday Night Raw already knew he was going to lose because he was the one sitting there doing the countdown, knocked out Seth and all that stuff and did his countdown. So when that happens, they're not going to have that repeat itself at the PLE. So that's been the pattern since I've been watching. So it was just like that gives it away from me. So when there is supposed to be a title match, and it's a SmackDown before the Monday Night Raw before, I prefer that there's just a standoff a stare down or them just getting, pulled away from each other. Because anytime someone gets knocked down and the other's victorious, whoever's victorious, they're gonna lose. Period. So that's what ruins it for me. When I see that pattern, I'm like, oh yeah, me and my wife are always like, oh okay, yeah, he's gonna lose or she's gonna lose. It happens all the
So
time.
the only thing for me is like the one thing that stuck out during like Seth's whole title reign to me, like when they first came out with the new title, they made it out like it was going to be like this workhorse title and he was going to defend it a bunch of times and all that stuff. But when you really think about it, he really hasn't defended that thing like that. And I feel like although it was hot when he first won the title, I feel like a lot of the steam has kind of, blown off Seth at this point. So in a lot of ways, I kind of would have loved to have seen Shinsuke be the one to get the title, at least to have him make a little bit of shine on the main roster. As I talked about in the beginning of the show, I loved the white robe for Shinsuke because I feel like it's kind of like a trademark to when he was being Sinister. If you remember back when he was the Intercontinental Champ over there in IWGP over there for New Japan. I don't know, man. I'd like to see more with Shinsuke, but I don't know that WWE will ever really have him in that spot on the main roster. But I do kind of feel like sometime soon it's kind of getting to be time for Seth as champion, or they need to do something to heat his title reign up.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
I don't think they're gonna. They might if they end up going to any one of the Asian countries. That's when they'll pull him again.
It's just crazy because he was badass in NXT, man.
He was,
Yeah.
and even when he went to the main roster, he had a
Same
good
with
run on the
Asuka.
main roster when he had
He
the
did.
violinist come and stuff like that. But then there was a
Dude,
time where,
WrestleMania 34 against AJ and that whole story was dope.
yeah, it just then now it just feels like I don't know. It's not. They're not. They're not. They're not utilizing him.
Yeah. 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 That's
It was
why
just nice to see him back in a main.
Ooh, this
Main
is a
event.
good question.
Who's next to face Seth?
Yeah, I mean that's a tough one at this point. Like man,
Does Damian Priest take it off of him?
that makes sense. In fact, I almost wish that would have just happened. So that, but of course, I think they're waiting for a bigger PLE for that to happen. But yeah, man, I'm still. This is a disappointment that I already knew was happening, knew was coming. So it's just like I had. When was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday? I have 5 days to already let it marinate. Because as soon as I saw how Monday Night ended, I'm like, oh, okay, we know that Seth is retaining the belt. So where they're gonna go from there, I don't know. I kind of miss where Seth was a little, crazy. Because that got toned down after a while, and it seemed like he was starting to get back to that during this angle with Shinsuke.
I hope
With his
Russ's
whole
story
ha 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 laugh. He ain't even doing his laugh no more. I'm like, oh, now this is going almost into babyface Seth, full babyface Seth territory, which I wasn't the biggest fan of. So, I don't know.
You bring up a good point, only for the simple fact that somebody else I've heard say this a lot. Shout out to a guy who's a past guest on our show, Dave LaGreca from Busted Open. But he said that since Seth really kind of had this whole change as far as like character wise with the big coats and the glasses and all that, like what's the point to the Seth character? Like, what is it? Like, what is he doing? Like, at every different point in his career, you had the architect, you had, you had that when he came out of the Shield, you had the thing where he had J&J security and stuff. Even though, yeah, they got the crowd singing along with him and all that stuff. There's not really like there's not really ever been like a real motive put on this part of his character, I feel like. And
Mm-hmm.
so I feel like what we're seeing now as him as champion, he's not had like that one big foe, right? As he's been champion, that's kind of like dragged out at all. So I feel like that's why his title reign is kind of starting to like, I don't, lull's not the right word because I still enjoyed what he did with Shin, but it's not been as hot as it could be. That's why I don't know who would be the right person to be next, but whoever it is, if they're going to keep Seth as champion, they need to heat it up. But hell, I could see him do that and then Damian take the belt off him then, because I hope to God that Russell Storian's wrong, because I don't want to see him fail after all this. But
Yeah. So someone's asking, was I more mad about what is it? Was I more mad about Seth winning or Damian not cashing in? Tell you the truth, I wasn't really thinking much about Damian cashing in until we, just mentioned it now. So it was more so like I wasn't so much I don't want to say I'm upset about Seth winning. I'm more upset about Shinsuke losing, which is the same thing at the end of the day. I just because It's just because I could tell, already knew. I could just tell. So if they just would have had a standoff on Monday Night Raw, then I wouldn't have been either one. It would have been a surprise, like what's gonna happen. But the way they kept building it up to like, it really just kind of, the story of like, oh, your back is bad. So how could you, get sucked into this? This is foolish. Blah blah blah. So it just kind of had that, want to be Rocky Before type of angle, type of thing.
hey, but at least he stayed on his back the whole time. I hate when they
True.
go, "Oh, your back sucks. Oh, your leg sucks. Oh, your knee's blown out." But I'm not gonna fuck your knee up at all.
Yeah, yeah. It's just overall, it was still a great match, but I just,
Oh,
what's this,
I like what
sir?
restaurants. Continue what you're saying.
That's a good point.
What's it? Well, I don't know what I was about to say anymore. I'm over here distracted. I'm trying to read this.
Rest
So.
Historian says Seth's current run would mean more if it wasn't during the run of Roman Reigns, the run Roman Reigns is having. Roman just overshadows everything on both shows.
Yeah, but I still feel like Seth hasn't done enough as champion though to really cement this run though. Because
Yeah, but
again,
think about it. Say, I know we can't. Well, I know I can't do this, but just take the bloodline out of WWE. Like, let's pretend the bloodline doesn't exist. The Usos are doing their thing. Roman's, doing his thing,
Mm-hmm.
but he's not the champion.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that Seth would have more cachet if it
he'd
wasn't
have
for
more
Roman?
cachet, but I still feel like the run itself needs more because they made such a big deal about Roman's a champion who never defends his title. Roman's never on TV. Dude, Seth hasn't defended that shit on Monday Night Raw in what, 6 months or so? And that was like the big thing that they made out that was going to be a thing. Like, they were saying he was going to defend it more. He's kind of doing the same thing as what Roman did. So my whole thing was, I just thought he was going to be the champion that was like, okay, we're going to defend it all the time. Now, if it were maniacal Seth Rollins, you know what I mean? Where like he was the heel, I could totally see where he's holding the belt back. Like, fuck you, you're not getting a title shot. But because that's how they preface the title reign, it just, I don't know. I like maybe some of his other stuff better.
That leads to my point. Honestly, it's like without Roman in the picture, I don't think it would make that much of a difference because some wrestlers, to some of the superstars, to me, like they work better with the title as baby faces, some as heels, some can do both.
Mm-hmm.
Seth is one of those people that when he's a heel with the title run, it stays consistent. When he's a baby face, it dies down. And this is just from what I've seen in the past, because when I started watching wrestling again, he was he was Mr. Money in the Bank at the time, and then he did the biggest cash in, you know, at
Damn, they are
WrestleMania.
backed up.
Was what's that?
He said that he ordered the World Heavyweight Championship when it came out, and he still ain't got it. Damn.
So when he was a heel and had the title run with the Authority and everything, he had J&J Security. He had that whole thing. It was lasting for a while.
But they're different phases. That's what I mean. Like
point,
there were definitive.
My point is, when he had the title run before this as a babyface, around the same time that they're like putting him and Becky Lynch together and stuff, and it was just all, when he's a babyface with the title run, it starts to become stale a lot quicker than when he is a heel. And that's just what it's been in the past 9 years of what I've seen. So if he was a heel, I don't think we'd be having this conversation, honestly.
I don't know.
Who knows? But honestly,
No.
I feel like if he remained his maniacal whatever kind of, I'm just a heel fan, so I'm just biased.
Can't argue that. I agree.
I'm a heel fan, and I'll say the exact same thing about Roman. I was always like, he needs to be heel. Just make him heel, and it will work, and it has. So with Seth, it would need to be either heel or some kind of anti-hero in some kind of way. And it just seems like the anti-hero is kind of hard to pull off, like, because it's hard to pull off the way that Stone Cold Steve Austin was able to pull off.
I feel like they felt they needed a baby face though when Seth won that though.
Exactly, and they did.
I feel like because they started that was right around the time of the WWE draft. You were quote unquote splitting the shows, even though that really doesn't mean shit no more. But we were splitting the show and we needed a champion for Raw. So they wanted to put it on like a major star. And that was when Seth won it. And I understand, things like they always say in WWE and then wrestling as a whole, like card subject to change. But at the same time, like when they gave that title, I think it was they just wanted to put it on a big name person and kind of make him the face of that show. But as you said, as time's gone on, I just feel like I think that's why I'm leaning more and more. It might not be in the immediate future, but I think Damian Priest is taking that belt off.
Yeah. Because I'm already missing, like, I don't feel like Seth needed to lose the edge he was having as a baby face. What happened to the bye-bye bitch and all that stuff he was doing? Like, I was like, yes, he could have kept that. He could have kept, going with that. So, I just missed the crazy laugh, the bye-bye bitch, shit like that he was pulling. Like, it seemed like it got a little more
dropped the
down
laugh, though, because he was serious about the whole thing with Shin. Because remember, Shin kept bringing up his family through the whole thing, too. Like, I mean, if somebody told me, hey, I'm going to beat the shit out of you so bad that your daughter's not going to be able to see you walk no more, I mean, I would probably want to rip dude's face off. I'm just
right.
Well, you remember that promo that he had backstage where he was starting to get like crazy and stuff like that. So I thought we're about to see another element, not him.
Right,
going
but remember,
laugh,
what you always hear? The one that talks the most shit is not the one that's dangerous. It's when a motherfucker goes quiet that it's a problem. And you notice he went real like, that's it. Now you've went in and talked about my family and my daughter. Now I gotta fuck you up. Like, that's just like, I mean, that's how I saw it, but maybe that's just me. But
I feel you.
Wow, I don't even. Now that I'm kind of listening to the back and forth and all that stuff, Seth is quite the conundrum as far as what to do with him. And also, if you remember that interview that he did with, I think it's the Ariel, where he was talking about the frustration, of like the position that he's in before he won the title. So I don't know. I like what WrestleStorian said, because when he's ready to retire, if he doesn't pass where he is right now, like his position, meaning like he's definitely not a mid card, but he's not the guy. Like if he never becomes the guy, there's always going to be a part as far as like what could have happened.
You don't think he was the guy though during the Architect run though?
No. I think he's close to it. Like he would be the what they do like in basketball terms. You know how like they had Shaq and Kobe? He was close to it, but he wasn't the guy.
He was like Tony Parker and Tim Duncan.
Yeah,
Well,
because it's just,
oh, go ahead.
yeah, just because it's one of those things where even when that was happening, it was, I mean, I remember like they've been pushing Roman so long on us. And the way they pushed Roman, they didn't push Seth.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like.
But I don't think they ever needed to try to push him the way they did with Roman. I think they over pushed Roman because Roman never got over. But in the hindsight of it, I think Seth, just because of the way he's able to do the character part of it, I think Seth is able to get himself over more just because he'll change based on what you'll see. I think Roman, on the other hand, because of the way he was built up and because of the way they pushed him so hard for so long, I almost kind of feel like had he not gone through all the force feeding that we had went through, I don't know that it necessarily would be where it's at now, because people were so, I think if people weren't so pissed off at him, I don't think they would have ever done the drastic turn to make him what we see now. Versus Seth has been like consistently, he's like he's like the Bret Hart, right? Everybody loves Bret Hart. But Bret Hart, for a lot of people, they would say he was bland, like when Stone Cold came out and all that stuff. I feel like Seth is kind of like the same kind of thing when you think about it. Seth is like the one guy that you know is going to give you the great match, and he's going to give you the good storylines and the promos and all that stuff, but he's going to be consistently good. Versus Roman was kind of down here, and now they had to do this, and now he's up here. Seth, I feel like, is just that guy that's like consistently good all the time.
Yeah. I think they tried to make him, the time they really tried to make him the guy was during the like pretty much the Beast Slayer era, you know, when he beat Brock Lesnar and everything. And that was that time when he was full baby face, where he had the title and everything, but just the run just felt stale because it was like Seth couldn't be, you know, that character time, just it wasn't, you know, any shit talking Seth. You know, it was more, it felt more like pandering to the audience and, you know, being that hero type and stuff. I think that was the time that they were really trying to make him the guy. But yeah, I don't know. But I see what you're saying, Kyle. So
with that being said, I just realized it's like 12:30 by you, Kyle. So let's wrap this up, because I know if I were you,
I've been up since 7 o'clock this morning. You're all right.
Ooh. Yeah, but still, just because you've been up since 7 doesn't mean that hey, let's keep you on 30 more minutes. Like that doesn't mean anything.
It's all right. I got a holiday on Monday and I'm getting paid, so I got 2 days off in a row here.
I don't think I'm off on Monday.
Well, I didn't want to be off on Monday, but since my boss wanted to make me go fucking Postal, I am off on Monday, so I'll be off paid. But you know, it's all right.
I don't think I'm off. Are you off on Monday, Booney? I don't think I'm off.
Yeah, but I work at a school, and that's
You should
my
be
wife
off.
has
I thought schools all had that shit off.
I work at it, at this college. No.
But you didn't say college though. But, even at college though.
Yeah, that's what I figured too. My wife has off with her job, but no, I
am a terrible Canadian. It didn't even dawn on me that it's Thanksgiving on Monday. I think I have to turn in my Canadian card.
You got to turn in your Canadian card.
Monday, Canada. Oh wow.
Yeah, I totally forgot that. I usually remember.
You don't have any plans?
It's funny. I don't even know how far I can go with this, but I work for a company that is, and I think this is actually, now I'm like talking about, I think this is why we're not off. I work for a company that's owned, and the people around me are mainly people of color, and Black folks don't really deal with Columbus Day like that. So I kind of have a feeling like, yeah, we ain't. You're not getting that day off. Now I'm thinking about it, because I'm like, why don't we have this day off? Are the banks? I think the banks are off too.
Yeah.
You got church
I
in
work
the
for the post
morning.
office. That's technically supposed to be a government job, but even though we don't get paid like government jobs, so it's like I get it. We get the days off. I just don't get paid like those.
Oh, so
motherfuckers.
you really can go postal. You've been saying that. I didn't know you were actually.
I've worked for the post office for the last 7 years. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for your service because y'all, the guy who did my mail today, or was it yesterday? It was like 90 something degrees. I was like, y'all better you than me. I couldn't.
Hey, it's good benefits, but the whole postal thing, it could or could not be a thing. I may or may not have told a supervisor I was going to knock him out at one point, but that's a story for another time.
There it is. That's a story in saying that he has church in the morning. I do online church. I've been meaning to actually go to church in person for a while, but that pandemic online church, man, I really don't feel as guilty anymore.
Okay, so I'm so glad to hear somebody else say that because like I go back and forth. It's like it's tough. Some weeks I'll be like, okay, I need to get up and go, but other times if I sit there for a minute, I'm like, oh shit, I just turn it on YouTube real quick and we'll be all right.
Yeah, I've been online. I've been online for a minute because like living out here in LA is just like, I mean,
y'all got a lot of churches out there though, like a lot of outdoor churches and all kinds of stuff out there.
There are a lot, but like when I'm back home, my mom's a minister, so when I'm back home, then it's just like definitely gotta go with my mom, grandma, them.
Yeah, you can't say I'll catch you online.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah.
And it's funny too because the pastors at the churches that I kind of watch, they've all preached or said something about like, y'all, we see y'all at home. There's no reason for you to be at home. And I'm like, here we are. Anyways,
God ain't judging.
I went on a whole tangent, so I apologize. The whole goal was to let Kyle go early, and then we just added another 15 minutes because
you're all good.
Jeffrey saying pandemic church feels so used to that and work. Like I work from home a few days a week, and
that's another one of those post office things, man. We never shut down during the pandemic, and I never got a pandemic check, bastards.
Damn. Yeah, the post is gonna be serious. But with that being said, it's time to say au revoir. Kyle, where can everybody find you? And thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me, first of all. We'll definitely have to do it again soon, and we'll definitely see you back on our show. But you can check me out every Tuesday and Thursday on Knockouts and Three Counts. We also talk the combat sports side of things. We just had your co-main event of the last BKFC coming on there, and a little birdie told me with NWA's pay-per-view coming up that EC3 and a few of your big stays for that pay-per-view coming up will be joining us. So if you guys aren't doing so, make sure you check us out, Knockouts and Three Counts on YouTube, and you can see my Twitter and Instagram handle at Detroit Knockout. Come mess with us.
Out on bail, first out of jail, California dreaming. As soon as I step on the scene, I'm hearing hoochie screaming, feeding for money and alcohol.
Second most recognizable athlete in the world, next to Muhammad Ali.
Oh, man. Booney, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Booney Mayfield. You can also find me on YouTube. A lot of content on there. My channel, Booney Mayfield. And if you like music that doesn't copy what everyone's been sounding alike for the past 10 years, check me out on all your streaming platforms.
That's fired.
Booney Mayfield, Spotify, Apple Music. If you want to hear something different, check me out.
Wow, shots fired.
I know.
Damn, you ending the show like this? That's what we doing.
Hey, Bow Wow was even saying it. There are a lot of other people saying it. Music's been sounding the same.
If we're shouting out Spotify music, make sure you check out Megaran and that Buddy's Magic Toy Box, #2 on Billboard. Enjoy
the Magic Toy Box.
Yeah, it's called Buddy's Magic Toy Box.
I'll check it out. Yeah, that ain't
the
no
kids album. He's beating Bluey and all them, for Christ's sake.
Dude, everyone's been saying the same. Everyone's been saying that music been sounding exact same for 10 years. So you want to hear something refreshing? Check it out.
I take over here.
Yeah,
we all do.
Oh goodness. What you send me, Dylan? Hold on. Let me see if this is. I already know what this is. am a terrible Canadian.
Now you just got to have Terrence and Phillip playing above that, and you'll be all right.
Oh my goodness.
South Park, Colorado.
I know. There's your assignment, Dylan. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been fun. We're gonna definitely be doing more of this. Like I said, we have a WoW after show coming, or resurfacing again. We have an Impact show. We also have a women's show, a women's wrestling show where we're going to be talking about a women's weekly wrestling show, I should say. We're going to be talking about all the women's matches from the entire week, all on one show. Dylan is really quick, Jeffrey. You don't even understand. And also, we're going to be having a wrestlers after show as well to talk about the wrestlers. And we also have an interview from the wrestlers show on Netflix. An interview dropping on Monday. So keep it locked with all the things. Check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Check us out on social at www.talkpod. Shout out to everybody in the chat: Dylan, Jeffrey, Bosa, WrestleStorian. I think Dell's in there as well. I saw a few other people. Bosa, I didn't say that. So thank you guys for joining. We'll be back on Monday to talk wrestling news and all the things. With that being said,
now I'm gonna go off. This is Shayna, the Queen of Spades Baszler, and you're watching Women's Wrestling Talk.
Everything at TK Trinidad. Oh, also scan that QR code. We have all our new shirts. Well, we have some of our new shirts. Booney's actually gonna be working on the rest of them, but scan the QR code. Stay up to date on those shirts. Check out our Twitter. All that stuff also has our merch as well. Till next time, guys. My name is TK Trinidad. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the number one women's wrestling show on the planet. Ciao.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the number